Short, Heretics. Exterior, Polish countryside, day. Roaming lush fields. A plume of smoke rises on the horizon. Soft screaming emits from a distance. It grows louder and closer. A Polish man, Fabek, late 30s, early 40s, carries a small boy, Sylwester, 8, who stares forward, silent and completely covered in blood. A girl, Alka, 15, appears as she tries to keep up. They run frantically up a hill.
Keep up!
Pa!
Alka adjusts her pack.
Pa!
She cries out, dropping her things. Fabek stops to help.
Alka, come on!
Alka shrinks as he approaches.
I'm sorry.
She grabs the bag, only for Fabek to slap it from her hands and shove her along.
There's no time, just leave it.
Alka sobs. Distant scream, barely reaching them now.
We need to go back for Ma.
We need to get into the woods. Keep going!
Fabek runs, but starts lagging behind. Alka runs for the tree line. Fabek stops and presses a hand against his blood-drenched shirt. A particularly loud scream gets his attention. Fabek looks back at the smoke, then to Alka. He winces and runs after her. Exterior, pine forest, day. Alka runs into the shadow of the forest, slowing her pace as the solitude of the pine trees takes over. She looks back as the tree line disappears behind her. Beat. Alka adjusts the pack on her back in exhaustion. She looks over her shoulder to Fabek.
Pa.
She stops, and Fabek limps towards her. Beat. He kneels in pain, gets Sylwester down, and lifts his shirt to reveal a large stab wound. Alka opens her pack and looks down to see Fabek unwrap his wound. She gasps at the sight, and again the smell hits her. He tears a strip from his pants and wraps his wound with a grimace. He looks to the heavens and lowers himself to the ground. Alka frantically wipes the blood from Sylwester's face.
Don't worry, brother. Pa will know what to do.
Fabek inspects his ugly wound. He fights back tears. His lip quivers. On the edge of breaking, he looks over at Alka with Sylwester in her arms. He does his best to compose himself. A tear rolls down Alka's cheek. Sylwester opens his hand, revealing a wooden pendant.
Will Ma be okay?
Alka looks up at Fabek and back to Sylwester.
Silver, Ma, she's not coming.
He buries his head in Alka as he wails. Beat. Fabek leans back against a tree.
What are we going to do?
Our ancestors used these woods to...
Alka looks up at the canopy, then back to see Fabek passed out. Crack, crack, footsteps.
Pa, wake up. Someone's out there.
Alka peeks around a pine tree. A stranger shuffles along in the distance.
Someone, please help me! Please!
Looks like he needs help.
She shakes Fabek's arm.
Please wake up. What do I do? I need you, Pa.
The stranger cries.
I think he's hurt.
The man stumbles. Fabek groans and lets go of his arm.
Alka, don't.
Beat. Alka cautiously moves through the trees towards the stranger.
Hello. You need help?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's all gone. They're everywhere.
He gets closer and falls onto her, wrapping his arms around her, releasing cries of pain and relief at the same time as she falls to her knees with him.
Why are you all alone?
Alka stares back at her family, and the stranger's gaze follows to see a sickly Fabek. Beat. Fabek, now pale, lies wrapped in rags and spare clothes, with Alka sitting close by, trying to slip beans into his mouth. The stranger sits separate from the rest, giving occasional glances at Sylwester.
Who are you?
My name is Pietrek. I'm from a small town west of here. Suppose there ain't nothing there now.
He breaks down in tears. Alka tries to feed another bean. It slips from his mouth and drops to the ground.
Where's your family?
He wipes his tears as best he can.
I lost my wife a year ago to disease. It was just me and my little girl.
Staring forward into nothing as he shudders and cries.
Was same age as your brother there. You can't stay here.
Pa's not well. He's not ready to walk yet.
Your father's not going to make it, and you can't stay in the woods. I hear the Crusaders after they burned down my home.
What do you mean?
You need to come with me. I can take care of you both.
Pa needs me.
The Crusaders are moving this way through the woods. You and your brother need to come with me now. I will keep you safe.
No, he's not ready. I need to help him get better.
Yeah, perdon. We haven't got time for this.
Sylwester runs to Alka, shielding himself from Pietrek.
Sorry, if you want to help him, I need you to find something for me. A special plant. It's green with purple drooping flowers. If you find some, then we might be able to save him.
Okay, yes, I'll find it.
Alka runs off through the trees. Exterior, woods, day. Alka walks with haste, scanning her surroundings, tearing up plants and inspecting them as she goes.
No, no, no.
She throws the rejected back to the ground. Something catches her eye. She darts toward it and rips out of the ground.
Yes!
A horn fills the air from the way she came.
Silver!
Exterior, camp, day. Alka appears, short of breath. Fabek still sleeps, but no stranger, and no Sylwester.
Sylwester! Sylwester!
Fabek groans. She dives to her knees next to him.
The man has taken Silver. Did you see where they went?
Another faint groan. His hand struggles to move. It drops back down with the finger pointing.
Pa, I need your help. I can't get him on my own.
She cries and tries to shake him awake.
Please, I'm scared.
Another groan that peters out. She sits back, wipes a tear from her cheek, and looks up.
Okay, I'll find him.
Interior woods. Pietrek moment. Pietrek runs along with Sylwester in his arms. The boy kicks and cries to be let go.
Stop! Stop! You're safer with me. They would have only gotten you killed.
He continues running, regularly turning as he goes, beware of his surroundings. Exterior, woods, crusader moment. A crusader, followed by 3 men, scan the area.
There are more in here somewhere. Find them.
He waves a young man over and pulls him closer with a one-arm embrace.
You ready this time?
I'm sorry, Father. I froze. It won't happen again.
The village would have been hard for anyone's first time. This is different. In here, they're scattered and alone.
Yes, Father.
A horn sounds far in the distance. Exterior, woods, Alka moment. Alka moves along.
Silver!
A small worn sock grabs her attention. She picks it up and gives it a whiff. She gags and throws it away.
Silver sock! Silver! Ancestors, please keep him safe.
A voice in the distance yells out, followed by the reply of another. Alka quickly darts behind a tree, muffling her own screams with her hand. She peeks around the tree. A group of crusaders with an assortment of makeshift clubs and other weapons toy with Pietrek on his knees with their backs to Alka. Pietrek sobs on his knees, begging for his life. The men reply in jest, laughing, but Alka can't make out the words. Her eyes widen.
Silver!
She quickly covers her own mouth. Between her and the group, Sylwester lies flat on the ground, partially submerged in leaves, not moving. Another horn sounds. Exterior, camp, day. Fabek lifts his head abruptly, but barely. He rolls onto his side, and his head digs into the ground. He digs his arm under himself and forces himself up. His arm gives way, and he crashes back to the ground. Exterior, woods, day.
Sylwester, please hear me. Please move.
She hears Pietrek's cries as he's beaten. Quietly stepping from tree to tree, Alka approaches her motionless brother.
Silver!
He doesn't move. Pietrek lies in a ball, whimpering to his tormentors. Someone threats, something cracks, Pietrek screams in pain. The sound paralyzes Alka. A man turns his head. She quickly gets to a tree. Did he see me? Sylwester lies only a short distance away. Her heart races, but she's frozen in place.
Silver, get up, you little monster!
Her heart seems to stop. Her breathing slows as reality grips her. A tear forms in her eye.
No, please, no. Not you too.
Sylwester is... He moves. She gasps in relief.
Sylwester!
He slowly turns his head to her.
Alka? I'm scared.
Oh, Silver, if we get out of this, I'm going to hurt you.
He starts to get up. The men's voices get louder.
No, Silver, don't move.
But he doesn't hear her. The boy gets to his feet. Crusader scout leader turns slightly towards them. There's nothing Alka can do. Numb with fear, she can't speak, can't move. She closes her eyes.
Do something.
Sylwester's feet rustle the leaves on the ground.
Silver, get down!
Alka's leg shakes, but she can't move it. She gets in position as Sylwester walks into their full view. She sways back and forth. 1, 2, 3. Alka bolts. Zipping out from behind the tree, running as fast as she can, she shoves Sylwester to the ground on her way past. The man yells, and the Crusaders follow suit. They charge through the trees, shouting sadistic taunts as she runs. Her heart races. Adrenaline keeps her going. Trees flash by. Crusader runs after Alka, but soon realizes she's gone.
It's just a girl. Can't have gotten far. Spread out.
She catches her breath behind another tree, trying to silence her heaving chest. Exterior woods. Sylwester moment. Sylwester lifts his head. Everyone is gone.
Alka?
He gets up and looks around.
Alka!
He looks over to see Pietrik's beaten, bloody body. Sylwester stops and stares, unable to look away. Then after a moment, he turns his head, walks off, and continues his search.
Alka!
Exterior woods. Alka moment. The Crusader scout leader walks near. Alka slowly circles the tree, staying out of view. He walks the other way, and she scurries to another tree. He turns his head just as she ducks behind it. Exterior woods. Sylwester moment. Sylwester wanders. He scans the area, but sees nothing and no one. Crack, crack. He looks over his shoulder, but keeps walking.
Hello?
Crack, crack. Footsteps. Someone whispers. More footsteps. Sylwester picks up the pace. Hastily walking, he begins to panic. Footsteps follow him. They get closer, and bam! A hand grabs Sylwester's shoulder and spins him around. A young woman looks him up and down.
Are you okay, boy? Why are you out here alone? Do you have anyone?
My sis...
Christoph, come here. I found a boy. He's all alone.
A young man, Christoph, appears, assisting an elderly woman.
Bring him with us. We need to keep moving. The horde was heading this way. We don't have much time.
You need to leave me. I'll only slow you down.
Don't be stupid.
I'm tougher than I look, you know.
Hey!
Everyone turns their head toward the young Crusader not far away. The elderly woman raises a fist to the man.
Do your worst.
Christoph gets between her and the Crusader.
Leave us alone, please!
There's no point in resisting. We are reclaiming these lands in the name of God.
Christoph holds the elderly woman back.
Our ancestors made these lands what they are today.
The young Crusader points his sword at her.
We are here to purge any false idols and see this country reborn. Your ancestors corrupted these lands with their pagan ways. Lands that were created by the true God.
Have you ever killed anyone before?
The young Crusader tries to answer, but can't.
You don't need to do this. Just let us.
Christoph reaches for a small knife in his waist. The young Crusader plunges his blade through the man's chest. The young woman screams. The elderly woman comes out of nowhere, swinging a large stick at the Crusader, smacking him in the face. He stumbles back and crashes to the ground. His sword falls a length from him. The elderly woman swings at him with a stick. He scrambles for his sword, grabs it, and brings it up through her stomach. The young woman screams and grabs Sylwester. The young Crusader gets to his feet. Blood drips from his lip. He looks at the young woman, then down at what he has done, removing his weapon and tossing it to the ground in disgust, tears forming in his eyes.
Why did you do that?
The young woman frozen in place.
I didn't mean to.
Horns sound.
They're coming. Get out of the woods. Now!
Come on, boy.
She turns to grab Sylwester. No Sylwester. Her gaze searches the area, but no boy. He's gone. She bolts. The young Crusader watches as she runs, but doesn't follow. She disappears through the trees. Horns sound as he turns his head. Exterior woods. Alka moment. Alka, alone, picks up the pace. Crusader scout leader strikes out of nowhere. He pounces on Alka, pinning her to the ground. She kicks and screams, hitting him in the face as he tries to hold her still. Exterior woods. Fabek moment. Fabek lies motionless on the ground. A loud squeal shocks him from unconsciousness.
Alka?
He puts his palms to the ground and pushes himself up, straining the whole way. He feebly climbs up onto his feet and wades through the trees. Intercut between Alka and Fabek. Alka gets a good lick and frees herself. She runs. The Crusader scout leader takes her down. She ineffectively kicks and screams. Fabek hears the screams and moves into a limping run. Alka cries for the Crusader to let go. He hesitates before raising his club to strike. Fabek runs at full pace. The Crusader swings down. Bam! Fabek tackles, colliding with the Crusader, flying into the ground beside Alka. The two men struggle. Fabek tries to take the club, but fails. The man gets the advantage and goes to attack. missing Fabek's head, and swings again, cracking into Fabek's leg. Fabek screams in pain. Alka kicks the man. He yells, backhands her, and Fabek gets on top of him. Fabek pins him and then gets his arm around the man's neck. Squeeze. The man tries to claw Fabek off. Fabek fumbles his limbs enough to wrap around him. The Crusader frees an arm and elbows Fabek in the face. Fabek releases and cries out. The Crusader reaches for his blunt weapon. Alka quickly grabs it and runs to a tree. In the distance, another Crusader cries out to another. The Crusader goes to alert them. Fabek gets on top of him and covers his mouth. They struggle some more. The young Crusader bites his hands, freeing his mouth. Before he can sound an alarm, Fabek gets his arm around his throat once more. The man weakens. Fabek begins to cry. He doesn't want this. Alka watches on. Her lip quivers. Fabek tightens his grip around the Crusader's throat, closes his eyes as tears roll down his cheek.
Pa!
The men in the distance stroll closer. The Crusader is almost out.
Pa! Don't kill him. Please, don't do it. Please, Pa.
Fabek opens his eyes to see Alka staring back at him. He loosens his grip on the man's throat but keeps him pinned. The man gets a small breath. Shouting for the Crusaders gets louder. He looks to Alka, then back at the approaching killers and to the man in front of him.
Alka, you need to go.
Without you, I can't do it. I'm afraid.
It's okay to be afraid.
I need to be like you.
Fabek gives a slight smile.
I've never been more scared in my life. It's okay to be afraid.
The Crusader, weak, pulls himself free, jerks forward, coughing and wheezing, desperately trying to get air back into his lungs.
If anything happens to me, you must find your brother and keep him safe. Protect your family at all costs. Now go! Run!
A horn sounds. Alka takes off as quietly as she can. Fabek's attention jerks away as a small horn sounds, and then another, and another. He struggles, limps up onto his feet, and faces the Crusader. They both face each other, ready to attack. The man looks at Alka as she disappears, then back to Fabek. He signals for Fabek to go after them. Fabek hesitates. Is it a trick? A horn fills the air and he runs off. The Crusader gets to his feet. Shouts come at him from behind, and he points in Fabek's direction, and the shouting Crusaders run past after him. The horns sound louder, and the ground begins to shake.
Father!
The young Crusader stumbles closer and falls into the arms of the Crusader scout leader. He examines the blood in the young man's hands.
I don't know if I can do this.
The Crusader scout leader rubs his own sore throat. The approaching screams become deafening. Suddenly, men and their weapons go screaming past, filling the air with their bloodthirsty battle cry. The Crusader subtly hugs his son as they all storm past. Exterior, woods, Alka moment. Alka looks back for her father as she runs. Loud cries fill the woods. She halts and gathers her bearing. Screaming from behind, but also from the side. Exterior, woods, Sylwester moment. Sylwester feels the ground. The earth rumbles.
Silva!
Alka appears. She runs over to Sylwester and dives to her knees by his side. They embrace.
I'm sorry. I was worried I'd never see you again.
She squeezes him tighter.
Can't breathe.
A tear slides down her cheek.
Alka, run!
Fabek charges out from nowhere, looking over his shoulder and badly limping as he goes. Alka and Sylwester turn and run. Fabek catches up and picks up Sylwester in one swift motion. He shouts as pain strikes up through his leg. Fabek falls to the ground.
Pa!
The horns get louder.
What's happening?
They're coming. We have to go!
How many?
All of them.
They all look towards the thundering noise to see hundreds of stampeding Crusaders rushing toward them. Screaming villagers run for their lives only for the Crusaders to cut them down along the way.
What do we do?
Fabek, frozen, doesn't answer.
Pa! We need to do something.
She pulls his arm, but he doesn't budge.
Please! You need to try.
Alka, stop. You must take Sylwester and go.
Fabek slumps over. He inspects his wound to see blood trickle down. He drags himself over and rests against a tree. Sylwester runs and falls into Fabek's embrace. Alka looks on at the wave of men approaching. Sylwester looks at Fabek, unconscious.
Pa!
He grabs Fabek and shakes him, but elicits no response.
Pa!
Alka looks at her lifeless father.
Silver, he's gone.
Silver looks at Fabek and breaks into tears. He looks at Alka, gets up and tugs her towards the forest exit.
They're coming, Alka. We have to go.
She looks down at Sylwester, toward the edge of the forest, then back to the horde of crusaders.
I'm sorry, Sylwester, but no, I can't. If we run, we will always run.
Alka steps toward the crusaders. Her knee shakes, goes weak. She ignores it and stands her ground. Alka looks at the closest crusader and stares them down. The thundering ground tries to weaken her resolve. Everything shakes. It gets louder and rumbles close, but stops. In an instant, all goes quiet. Alka looks forward at the formidable number of crusaders, all staring back down at her. A man in red steps forward. He laughs, and all the men laugh with him. The Red Crusader looks past Alka to her family, huddled together around a weak Fabek, and then back at Alka. Alka keeps her stare on this man. He stares back. His hand feels the head of his axe in its holster. With his gaze, he attempts to provoke Alka and break her, though she doesn't budge. He looks at the other men, and they look back at him. A commotion moves through the ranks. The Red Crusader tries to see what's happening. The Crusader's scout leader emerges at the front of the horde. He looks down at Alka, then to her brother, and finally to Fabek's body. Alka stands her ground. The Crusader scout leader directs the men onward. The Red Crusader sighs, hesitates, and runs forward. The Crusaders follow. The leader and his son run along with the rest of the Crusader army. A wave of men thunder past, bone-rattling shakes, metal clinking, feet stomping, until at last it begins to diminish. The last few stragglers run past. Alka turns to Sylwester. He runs to her. She drops down and wraps her arms around him. They hold each other as the last of the Crusaders depart through the edge of the forest. Fade out.